And it is indeed a good start to hear some good news for the governor of Ohio. Yesterday at this time, as a matter of fact, we were distressed to learn, of course, that the governor tested positive for the coronavirus. Then lo and behold, we discovered a follow-up test. He tested negative. I hope that's the accurate one. The governor now joins me. Governor, good to have you. Boy, you had us a little scared, Governor. What happened here? How did it go testing positive and then a little later testing negative?
Well, that's a great question. Certainly scared me. I went to Cleveland, drove to Cleveland to meet the president. And of course, when you go meet the president, you get a test, and they do a quick test. So they did what's called an antigen test, and they came back very quickly and said, "You're positive." And I said, "You know, I'm very, very surprised by that." Of course, I couldn't see the president, so I called Ohio State and asked them, you know, what we should be doing, and they said, "Well, let's do another test." So, you know, we went down, and my wife and I and several of the people who were around me all the time got tests yesterday, and then last night it came back as negative. They reran it again, and it came back as negative. We're going to take another test tomorrow, and we hope it comes back as negative as well. I mean, I think one of the things that I want people to understand in Ohio is that we've had about 1.3 million tests so far. Very, very, very few of these are the antigen tests. These are relatively new tests. My understanding is that they actually test the protein that is on the coronavirus itself, and they're just not as reliable. They're very quick, but I'm told they're only about 70% reliable. So, you know, they have a place, but what I don't want people in Ohio or any place else to think is that, you know, these tests are not accurate. The test that I got is at Ohio State is the same test that we've seen time and time again in Ohio. And I'm told by the best scientists we can find that they're 99 point whatever percent accurate. But that these antigen tests do have a tendency to have false positives, usually false negatives. And they say it's unusual to have a false positive, but sometimes they have a false positive. So,
well,
you know,
look, right on this. I don't want to scare you, Governor, but what makes you think that what makes you think that this one, the negative read is accurate? I hope it is. Don't get me wrong. But
well, it's because
the separate
it's the type
test was wrong in the beginning, you know.
Yeah. Very different type tests, though, and these are just different tests. And we just did a news conference here in Ohio where I had Dr. Peter Mueller up there answering the questions to the Ohio media, and he just explained the difference between these two type tests. And one is a gold standard test that most people get, frankly. The only reason that I guess the White House wanted us to take this quick test yesterday was because it was a quick test. I don't think it's the same test that is offered when someone goes and sees the president at the White House. I think that is a different test, is my understanding. So,
but you know, Governor, what confuses me, you mentioned you don't want a false positive, and I get that. But a lot of people get a combination of tests, a variety of them, and they enter into the number of cases that are reported in this country. Could it be possible that we might have a false high count on cases because people are unaware sometimes of the test that they're taking, just that they found out, oh my gosh, I just tested positive for the virus? Could that be possible in your state and indeed in the country?
Well, I think anything's possible. I don't think it's likely to be a very big percentage, just from talking to the doctors and the scientists. I mean, one thing we do in Ohio is if it's a case, then only one individual can be a case. So when we report cases, it is only one individual. Test, if you just report tests, yes, that would be if someone got 3 tests, then it shows up as three separate times. But as far as the accuracy, the type test that I got at Ohio State yesterday is the test that most Ohioans get. It's the test that we think at least better than 90% of Ohioans have gotten, the 1.3 million. So those are very, very, very accurate, highly accurate. The antigen test that was the quick test that was done early on that day in Cleveland was not as accurate. There are some quick tests, I'm told, that they're much more accurate than that particular test.
But to most people, Governor, just they take one test, whatever it is, they find out, oh my gosh, I tested positive, and then they immediately go, seek treatment and handling this. Do you think a good many have done that,
Well,
and that might, I know what you were mentioning about the percentages, be giving us a false sense of alarm here?
Well, I think one thing we have to be very careful of is these antigen tests are relatively new tests. They've not been deployed very widespread. I know they certainly have not been deployed very widespread in Ohio. And this is an example of how we will have to be very careful with how we use them. There may be a place to use them, but you know, we've seen that obviously that you know, this one did not work, and it gave us a false read.
All right. Well, I'm glad you're okay. When I heard that you first, before the press got wind of this, that you called your 7 children and you wanted to talk to your grandchildren, I thought to myself, just calling all those people is going to take hours. I'm glad everything worked out. Thank you very, very much.
I got them called quick. Thanks, Neil.
Governor, thank you. Continued good health.
Thank you.